Oh, sorry.
I don't care what anybody says. I jam out to that song every time.
Me too, brother. I love the sound. It's just one more time and knowing Big Sexy Outdoors is rolling your way. That's all.
Uh-huh.
So tonight we're going to talk about Kansas.
Yeah.
Now, Kansas was a spur of the moment trip that I personally said I wasn't going a zillion times. Okay. I kept telling my buddy when he called, or text, I should say, message, I'm not going, I can't afford it, through the work. So it ended up he cut me a sweet deal, and I decided, what the heck, I'm going for it, right? So, hey, what's up, everybody? I see a bunch of people joining. So, I was like, okay, all right, I'm gonna go. Well, all right. I hope you are ready for this trip because this 45 minutes is gonna fly by. So first, let me start by saying I appreciate the opportunity, and I hated it, and I never want to return to Kansas again.
Would you get mad if I showed the picture?
All right, you can show the picture.
All right, because I've been waiting.
I know you have. So here's Big Sexy in Kansas, okay? For this is for the live viewers.
Yeah.
Before we continue with this story. Dude, I can't stand you. I can't stand you.
Right standing on the Rubline Sense logo.
I want you to know I cannot stand you right now.
I have to do it.
Hey, that was pretty good because, as bad as Kansas went for me, that was probably the highlight of it right there.
Yeah.
Kansas started off. We were starting at Saturday at 6 o'clock. We were pulling out. 5 o'clock. So I end up pulling in, ready to go. Nobody's there. And I'm trying to figure out why nobody's there. So here it turns out that the guy we're going with, my buddy's buddy, not me. I won't use names because I want to be at least respectful in it. My buddy's buddy decided we needed a tonneau cover. And he had to go buy a tonneau cover before we were allowed to go. Now, I won't lie. If it was me and he needed a tonneau cover so bad, he could have took his butt and went and bought a tonneau cover and put it on. So anyway, then we end up going, picking him up. Now, Kansas from where we are is 20, don't quote me, but it's about right around 20 hours, give or take. And we, on the way there and way back, we stopped to fuel 5 times. Like I can tell you, it was 5 times each way. So that would give you a ballpark. So to start the trip, we have a Jeep Gladiator that now needs a tonneau cover installed. My poor buddy's running around trying to get the tonneau cover installed. And, oh my, I know why they call you sexy. Because of your picture, Chris. So if you ever been in a Jeep Gladiator, whether it's a truck or a Jeep, there's not a whole lot of leg room. Again, my buddy's buddy, he gets car sick. I'm not judging, not making fun, but I knew that meant I was stuck in the back and I had to do the right thing because I don't get car sick. Now, I will tell you, and I'm going to tell you this, that I don't drive. I can't drive at night. I have this terrible thing. I fall asleep at the wheel. So I minimize my drive long. I can drive at night, long drive times. So I was very blessed that these 2 guys pulled shifts to drive. Grateful, thank you. I want to start with that because that's probably the only part of the trip I was grateful for. So anyway, we're on our way to Kansas. We make a bunch of pit stops. We get about 2 hours out from Kansas, and we decide we're going to stop and get a hunting license at a Shields. Never been at a Shields. You guys ever get the opportunity to go to Shields? It's a pretty cool place. A little expensive for my blood, but it was definitely a pretty cool place to go check out. I've never been in one, so that was kind of cool. Get to Kansas, and I bought my hunting license. Well, in the meantime, again, my buddy's buddy is shopping and shopping and shopping and trying on clothing and shopping some more. and couldn't find ammo. So we went somewhere else to shop and then shopped again and then shopped one more time and one more shop. And then we shopped again. If you didn't get the point by now, we did a whole lot of shopping. So 2 hours at Kansas took us 5 extra hours. Okay. Then we go into the store. We go into Walmart. Okay. So we decide we're going to buy stuff. We want to make sure we're ahead of the game. We get there. We don't have to leave town. Town is an hour away. We want to try to minimize our trip. So we get there. We're excited. And I decided I don't need to go shopping. I don't have the money to waste to go buy all these things I don't have. So I was like, I'm just going to go to a grocery store. So we're at the grocery store, and I paid I was personally going to buy the whole cart out of my pocket, not even ask them for a piece of it. So my buddy's buddy shows up and says, I won't eat that. I won't eat that. I won't eat that. I won't eat that. I won't eat this. These eggs aren't farm fresh. These are only $2. I need the $8. It was an absolute crap show at Walmart. So I didn't get mad. I just pushed the cart down the aisle and paid for the 4 things he said he'd eat and said, you guys figure it out. Let me know what I owe. So I was very, whether I agreed or not most of the trip, I was very agreeable. Just to keep peace, right? I didn't care. I just wanted to try to make everything I could to enjoy it. So none of that was really the worst part of the trip. So the worst part of the trip is my buddy was supposed to actually call down there and explain to the guy, and again, everybody asked what guide service. I want to stress now, there was no guide service. The guy that took us out, I don't want to say his name. So we met this guy down there. I'll call him Mike. Okay. So we met this Mike down there, and he said, he calls, hey, you guys want to go out tonight? And we weren't going to go out tonight. We were 20 some hours. We want to go. But of course, we all excited to go. We wanted to go, right? So we all agree we're going to go. Of course, we're not unpacked. We're basically pulling stuff out and getting ready to go hunt. So he calls in the process us getting there. We're about an hour out, and he says, hey, what are you guys using? So, he's like, oh, my buddy's like, oh, I have an AR and a thermal. And he's like, oh, that's a great setup. I have this AR and this thermal. Oh, that's a great setup. And he asked what I was using. So this is where it starts. The trip starts going downhill in a hurry for me. So he says, well, what's your other buddy using? And he says, well, he's got a 270 with one of them real nice brand new AGM night visions on. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, is he running a suppressor? And let me tell you that I've never met anybody so doggone anal over a suppressor in my entire freaking life. So now, no, before I continue, that my buddy was to clear all this. All this was supposed to be cleared, that this guy knew I was heavy. I was 10 years older, or 15 years, about 10 years older, that, I wanted him to know I didn't have a suppressor. I had night vision. My buddy was supposed to clear all this. So when we got there was no questions how Kansas was. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want any arguments. I just wanted to go and enjoy myself. So anyway, he tells him I have a suppressor. You want to know how that turns out? Turns out easy. Well, he can't use that gun. He can't use that if he don't have a suppressor. So he's like, he's got to rip that scope off and put it on another gun. I'll bring him a gun. I was like, dude, I don't want to rip that scope off. Like, I don't want to rip it off. I have my gun sighted in. I'm happy with it. I don't want to use somebody else's gun. Well, that's the only way you're hunting with us. So me being me, I just wanted to get through the trip, right? So I said, all right, whatever we got to do, I'll just make it work. So guy shows up, brings a gun. Yeah, he brought a gun. No, he didn't bring a gun that night. He told me I could use his gun. That's how it was. So not only did I not want to use his gun, not for any reason, but this dude has probably, a $20,000 setup. If I drop this gun or it breaks, I'm responsible. I don't want to use this guy's gun. It's like a lot of pressure trying to enjoy yourself, Plus, it's a scope I never used. I never touched. There's a lot of things. So we shot it and gave me a crash course. We go out. We don't see anything. First night, dead. We heard a few coyotes, didn't see any coyotes. I think it was more just get our feet wet, and see where we're, what's out there. So second night, he shows up with a gun. Shows up with a 223 AR. Walks in the door, tells me I got to take my scope off, put it on there. Again, pissed off, but agreed just to keep peace. We go hunting. That's all I cared about. I wanted to go hunting. So I hand it to him. He takes my scope off, forgets the silencer for the 223, and he forgot the silencer, and the IR light wouldn't mount to it. So there I am now, no gun again. So he's like, "Well, you can use my gun. I'll use my buddy's." He didn't like it, but he was willing to do it. So I did it. I was grateful. So we go out that night. We shoot 3. It was a good night. Honestly, that night, not that it was, I had a horrible time the whole trip, but again, just uncomfortable using somebody else's setup. Didn't want to be responsible. Just maybe a nervous wreck. So that night we got 3 of them. So then, trying to think. So then, yeah, that was Sunday. Monday we got 3. Tuesday we go back out. He shows up. We put the silencer on. We use my buddy's. IR light. We got a bracket for it. Set it up. Put it on. So now we're ready to go. So I thought, here we are. I got my setup, which I didn't have my IR light. My IR light was by far better than the one I had. However, I thought this is going to be good enough that I can at least use my scope and we can meet halfway, right? I guess that was my thought at halfway, Chris. So we get out there and I said, guys, this ain't going to work. What do you mean ain't going to work? So we're practicing sighting this gun in. And I kept saying, it's digital. It's digital. We only had a target out at 100 yards. And I kept saying, it's not working. It's not digital. This guy shoots the gun. He says, it's good. Let's go. So we go hunting. Guess what? 2 coyotes come in. I can't see them on my scope. All I can see, what's up? All I can see is 2 eyeballs. So when I got the opportunity, I flashed a set of eyeballs, man. I didn't know what else to do. So the guy's like, well, why didn't you shoot when we shot? He's giving me all kinds of crap. And I was like, listen, I can't see out the doggone scope. If you guys wouldn't have touched my scope, we wouldn't have a problem. So he, of course, and I video of him looking through my scope and telling me, I don't know what's wrong with it. To heck with it. So anyway, he don't know what's wrong with the gun, whatever. So we end up, I used his gun again. So now this is night 3, and I'm using his gun again. I can't touch mine, can't use mine, paid all this money, vice versa. So you can imagine how frustrated I am at this point, right? So a real frustration didn't set in until night 4. Go ahead.
Because it's technically night 4 now, right? Because you had the 20-hour drive out there, plus the extra 5, 6, 10 hours to stop and do all the shopping.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, dude. Yeah. So we're at night 4. Now, understand that even though I didn't want to use his very expensive, and it's a very nice setup, I have nothing bad to say about it. It's probably about an $18,000, $20,000 setup. Even though I didn't want to use that because it wasn't mine and I didn't want to break it and it made me nervous. And there was a million reasons why. So I decided I'll use it. I'll use it again. I keep the peace. So I didn't even put my scope on my gun. None of that. So he comes in with a gun he's using and he reloads his own bullets. Okay. Now you're going to love this. So he reloads his own bullets and he gets that bullet jammed in his gun. So now he goes, well, we'll see if we can get it. So we spent like an hour trying to unjam this bullet, dude. I mean, like an hour. And it's getting later and later, because you're coyote hunt. We don't go out at 6 o'clock. We want to go out at 10 o'clock, till 4, something like that, So my buddy goes, well, what are we going to do now? Oh, I guess I got to give him my gun. So, this guy hunts in Kansas every day. It was a big deal to. I said, listen, whoa. I will just scan tonight with my scanner. Like, I'm okay with that. I will just scan tonight. If I just scan tonight, I'll still be part of the hunt. Fine, that's fine. Like, I just wanted to keep peace in every way possible. You know what I mean? Even though I'll get to the guy hated fat people. Just hold on. So I was like, well, I'll just go scan. Like, I had to make peace. I didn't want to have a miserable time. I want to enjoy it. You know what I mean? So I gave the guy the gun, get in the truck. Now, know that when we went Sunday night, my buddy was dozing off in the truck. It was a long drive. They were tired. I get it, right? When we went Monday, the other guy was yawning and dozing off in the truck. Okay? Now, we're Wednesday. He threw a fit. I gave him his gun. Okay? We're at the fourth setup spot. Shot one, I think, in the first setup. We're at the third or fourth spot, and I yawned in the truck. And he goes, well, you need to go back. I said, what do you mean I need to go back? I said, I'll scan. I have no problem with that. And he's like, no, you're tired. You're going back. So this guy had some issue with me from the get-go. Like, I don't know what his problem was. I will tell you this. On the very first day there, he made a comment about me being, how was it? He made a comment about a guy my size doesn't get cold unless it's warm as 30 or 40 degrees for me or something like that it was. So, you know, there was a good fat comment right off the bat. Then this night he mentioned about, or the night before that, I think it was, he mentioned about us mouth breathers in the Army. This guy's a, retired veteran. So you get really good guys and you get guys that think their crap don't stink. I'll let you guess where this guy I thought was sitting. So this guy decides, how the heck was it? I don't know. The night before that went, so it would have been the third night. He made a comment about mouth breathers. When I asked him what he meant by mouth breathers, he said, in the Army, we call you fat people mouth breathers because you don't know how to breathe out your mouth or out your nose. So I was like, oh, that's really great, right? So I thought that was fantastic. So the fat comments along the way already told me this guy didn't like me for some reason leading up to this moment, right? Like, you don't know me from a hole in the ground.
And you were telling me it's because, like, he only spends 5-10 minutes at a spot and then runs to the next one.
Well, so the guy's a tournament hunter, and he does win a bunch of tournaments out there. You won't hear me say he doesn't. But he gets in and out the truck. Like, you're not there more than eight minutes. I would say 8 minutes and maybe 10 tops, and you're gone. You know, he runs to a spot, jumps in the truck, leaves. Runs to a spot, gets in the truck, leaves. So another thing I want to throw in here that you guys will love. So anybody that's heavy is going to love this guy because this guy's awesome. So this guy says, now this was same night, Tuesday night. He says, text my buddy and says, just so you know, that guy's holding us back. He can't climb over the gates or anything. Yeah. I mean, that was really nice to say, right? That makes you feel good. I know this, though. Every gate we climbed over all week, we stood on the other side of the gate. There was no need to climb over the gate. Like, none. It was just none. One time out of all the gates and fences we climbed over, we went down in and walked 20, 30 yards. One time. What did we have to crawl over the gate for? Okay, now I'm back. Now, so we're at the third day. Third day, he says, I got to go home. I'm yawning. I'm tired. I said, you know what? Do whatever the fuck you want. I'll go home. I'll sleep. And I did say, excuse the French, but I said it. So you know what? I'm pissed off. You know what he does? He drives me back to the cabin. At this point, my buddy's like, why are you getting out of the truck? And I was like, see us. I just left because I was so pissed off that I wanted to rip this guy out the truck. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I was so pissed off. But I knew that if I didn't just let it go, my buddy wasn't going to be able to hunt. His buddy wasn't going to be able to hunt. So I just grin and bared everything inside my body because I was furious. So Nick, go see what Autumn wants. Nick, go see what Autumn wants. So I went back to the cabin, and I was so pissed. I called my mom to see if I could get a plane ticket back. I said, I'll pay you back. Send me money to get a plane ticket. Like, I just wanted out of there. I was so mad. Because now at this point, and you'll see in a YouTube video I'm going to post out, at this point, I already know the guy doesn't like fat people. Dude, they were falling asleep in the truck, and he never one time said he was taking them home. Think about that real hard. Not once. I yawned. Okay? So this guy, yeah, somebody said this dude sounds like an ass. Truly. He tried to be a nice guy. I don't think he purposely, maybe it's just his personality, whatever, but the dude did not like fat people. Bottom line. Okay? And he had an anal thing about silencers. Okay, I'm going to make that real clear. So, I guess I should add this. I understand the point of the silencer. The point of the silencer is that if a pair comes in and you shoot with the loud gun, or 3 or 4, a lot of times you won't get that next shot at one. Okay, I got it. In the days we were there, do you want to know how many times the silencer mattered? Big goose egg, it didn't matter at all. So I didn't use my gun, I didn't got treated like crap, all that over nothing. So, what do you think of that? Huh? So, next morning I get up, Thursday morning. So now we're going on day 5. This is day 5 morning. I get up, and dude, I lit my buddy up. I lit him up. I said, I told you that this was supposed to be taken care of before we left. I did not want to deal with this. I told you to tell him I was heavy. I told you to tell him I was older than all you guys, because they're younger guys. I said, I told you to tell him I wasn't using the same setup you were. I told you before I got here where this stood. I warned you that this guy was going to be a butthead. And I said, I didn't even know the guy. I just know people in the world suck. You know, there's a lot of people that suck. And I hate saying it, but it is true. It's not a godly world anymore. People are very ignorant and selfish. So I light him up. I said, I'm going to tell you now, our friendship is over if you don't find a way to fix this. I am hunting tonight. I will not sit in this cabin. And I said, I'm making that very clear today. I want you to know. So he did. I give my buddy all credit. I don't know what he said. He could have said, dude, the fat guy's mad. I don't know what he said, right? Bottom line, I don't know what he said. But he said something. He handled it. So he said to me, you're going tonight and you're taking your gun. So whatever he did, he handled it. So I'm stoked. I'm finally taking my setup, right? So we get out, we shoot. I spent, I don't know, a couple hours getting my gun back together, shooting, making sure it was on. My buddy is a heck of a shot, dude. My buddy, he shot 300 and what he's telling me, 86 yards it was in his rangefinder. He shot on a run, shooting coyotes. He's a heck of a shot. So I had my buddy shoot my gun. He hit the bullseye. I had my buddy shoot my gun, hit the bullseye. I said, dude, you're way steadier than me. Good enough for me. Okay? I wanted to save bullets and not waste them. That was the easiest way. I knew he could. So we go out there, and I listen, you got to understand, I'm pumped. I finally got my setup, my money, my stuff. I am finally ecstatic. Okay? Now listen, Chris, I hear you. I see you laughing. I know what you're laughing about. So I bought a brand new sling for my gun because I was like, I really want to take a good sling. We're going to be moving back and forth. My sling breaks in half. I throw my gun on my shoulder, and my $1,300 AGM Spectrum 4K smashes off the ground. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was so angry. And not at anybody in general. Just the moment, right? Like, how can I finally get so happy and just, So I hear this, we're going to call Mike. snicker. He snickered that I dropped my expensive gun. Oh, you can't imagine. My blood went. I was so mad. So, yes. So, I wouldn't let him win. I did not let him know I was pissed at him. I just said, how the heck how the hell did that just happen? So, now we're sitting up. Yeah, it is rough. So now we're sitting there. We're ready to go. We're set up. Here comes coyotes. Guess what? I can't see out my scope. So at this point, they shoot the coyote. They're looking for it. I'm at the truck, and my buddy's buddy helped me actually, which I'm grateful for. I said, dude, I don't know what's wrong with this scope. I must have totaled it. Must have threw all that money in the garbage. I was devastated at this point. Well, I realized here's the barrel of my gun, and I was going to bring my gun up here, and I didn't. So my IR light, we realized, is facing the ground. So my scope is looking at dead of night. So I end up bending it. We ended up bending it off the bracket a little bit that we could see, and I could hunt the rest of the night. Okay, so thank God that. Now, was my gun on the rest of the night? Bro, I don't know. We pulled the trigger. I don't know. We ran at a 1, 2, 3 count. Shoot, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it was on. I know that night we should have shot 14. No. We seen 14. We should have shot 7. We shot 1. It was a rough night. We went into one field, I think, at 8 they set in. It was 8 in. Yeah, I have videos coming. I have a video going to come out for you guys. Chris is helping me work on it. I can't get some of the video to process. So, there's one right there.
Third one's coming.
So this is thermal. This is my buddy's thermal setup. So what you're going to notice here before all the action happens is this guy is on it. When we started, he said, when we start hunting, it's 3, 2, 1, shoot. I want you to pay close attention to this guy's count when you hear a gunshot.
I'm on far right.
It's saying 287 yards out.
Yep. Pay close attention that when this gunshot.
Ready?
Anybody hear 3, 2, 1? Anybody hear 3, 2, 1? Dude, the whole trip, they said, when we see coyotes, it's 3, 2, 1, shoot. This, we're going to call Mike guy, how to kill the coyotes. Now, he's in all these tournaments, wins second place, does all this stuff. Dude, this dude had to kill everything. He didn't care about anything we did. He was the most selfish person I ever met. If there was a coyote, it was 3, boom. 3, 2, boom. There's a video I have when I'm going to post up that I see the coyotes coming. And I had him just coming over the hill. I could watch the whole head coming over the hill at me. And he tells me, hurry up and move. So I ran to the other side where he wanted me. And everybody shot but me. Because where I was standing, I couldn't see him. I'm telling you, dude, this guy had something against me. I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. I don't know anything about him. Don't know the guy. Don't know this. Don't know that. It's so frustrating to go somewhere and spend all the money you have. It's all I have. I'm a single dad. I spent every dollar I had. I took 5 vacation days and just not enjoy a single moment of the trip. So I see we have a bunch of viewers. I'm going to ask this. How many of you guys would be upset over a few things? So I want to know if this is just my reactions, and I wouldn't be that way. So Chris, you chime in. Give them time to answer by you answering yours. Okay. So first thing, if you went and you had a setup you used for years hunting, and you were very confident in your setup, would you be upset at all if someone changed that setup? Like if someone said, "Hey, you can't use that."
I'd be more upset that it wasn't mentioned to me that this needed to be done beforehand. I'd be okay with changing or modifying it a little bit. Like you said, adding the suppressor to the front. If that was made clear ahead of time, if I knew that before I had to go, but if I didn't know until I got there, then no, I would have been, to put it politely, livid.
Yeah. Well, somebody said what was the reason they didn't want you to use it. So I had to have a suppressor. It was his. So understand the theory behind a suppressor. Okay, I hunt coyotes in PA all the time with my buddy all the time. The theory behind a suppressor is if it's quiet, okay, if it's quiet, that if the coyotes are coming and you shoot, you get your opportunity to shoot at maybe 2 or 3 or 4, right? So that's the theory to a suppressor, which I completely understand. However, I don't use a suppressor. A suppressor is not mandatory to be used. A suppressor is not required. It is not illegal to hunt without one. Just like thermal, I like night vision. Do you know how many people? Now, I don't care what anybody says, and I won't give names to any of it. I'll plead a fifth to everything. But I've hunted with a bunch of different guys with thermals. Do you know how many people? Now, again, out there, we didn't see hardly any deer or fox. We didn't see a single fox, and the only thing we seen was coyotes and a few deer. Okay, so it's very hard out there to make a wrong decision. Okay, here in Pennsylvania, I have witnessed people shooting way different than what they should have shot with a thermal. Cat, fox instead of a coyote, because these people think that the thermals are so good. Look, I'm not knocking a thermal. I will tell you that the more expensive thermal you buy, the way better quality, the way better it is. Okay, bottom line. However, if I look through mine, I know what I'm shooting. That's why I shoot night vision. I don't want to question. I don't ever want to make a mistake and say, "Oh man, I shot the wrong thing." I don't want to be that guy. I myself and Big Sexy Outdoors have too much to lose to make a mistake like that. I do not want to do it. You know what I mean? So I do want to go back here. Ray Kiter 199 says very much. I agree with Chris, and I agree with Chris too. If I was prepared,
put it on a shirt because I'm married and I never hear that.
If I was prepared that it wasn't going to be that way, it probably would have been better.
Right.
It was just in that part. That was the only part I was upset with my buddy for. I felt he failed there.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think my buddy wanted every opportunity for me to have a better trip. You know what I mean? So, indeed, yes, there would have information if they didn't tell me beforehand. I'm used. Yeah, right. So everybody basically agrees, Chris, with you and I. Suppressor makes sense to use, but they should have. Yeah, absolutely. So this is what I was pissed about. And again, that was just the start of the trip for me. That wasn't the whole thing. The fact that this guy just didn't like. So here, let me ask you this, and this is me learning because I want to know if I'm the only one that would feel this way. So on the 3rd or 4th night, when I yawned and agreed to thermal scan and not take somebody else's gun, just so the guy who kills 250,000 coyotes a year in Kansas already could hunt, which makes no sense in my life to me. If I yawned, but the first night they got one guy dozed off, and the second night the other guy yawned and started to doze off. If they took you back to the cabin and told you you had to get out and go, how would you feel? No, it's not, Barnes. It's not worth anything. It was absolute misery to me.
Here was my thing because I've been on a couple of coyote hunts here in PA. We don't do 8-minute sets, right? We're there for about an hour.
Well, your standard set in PA here, I would say, is anywhere from 25 to 35 minutes.
Okay, but either way,
that's
it's not
standard. That's
but that's something else that somebody that goes with you often should have said, "Hey, this is how we do it there." But anyway, I guess
that part I was I don't want to say I I don't want to say I was told that part, but I did kind of get a heads up. My buddy did tell me this guy's kind of an ass. And this guy did tell me that, and my buddy did tell me that he hunts them a lot different. Yeah. Yeah, well, so we had an argument at the cabin the next night, and the guy said, well, you're so tough, I thought you were going to drag him out of his truck. I said, I'll tell you what, bub. I said, if I'd have drug him out of his truck, and I gladly will, but if I drag him out of his truck and beat him the hell up, I said, you guys are done hunting. He's never going to take you guys back out. I said, I did it for you guys. You guys should be grateful. I didn't kill
because that wouldn't be the first guy that you and I drug out of a truck.
Oh, yeah. Well, and here's the thing, Barnes. Yeah, it's not about killing a coyote. I could care less about killing a coyote. It was about the trip itself. It was just miserable. Between stopping at 247 stores, driving back to town. So, because it was everything. Like the guy we went with didn't buy bullets at home, so we had to stop. Then they don't buy and sell his bullets. We had to go to 32 gun shops to find bullets. And we found this box of bullets. Then he shot all those boxes of bullets in one day. So I go buy the bullets again. Then it was just, everything about it was just no peace, no resting, no enjoyment, the only part of it I was grateful for was, again, I think my buddy really did intend I had a great time. I don't think he intended it was miserable for me. And I am grateful to him for wanting me to have that opportunity. So that I won't take away. And I want to make sure he hears that if he's watching this. I do believe that. I wasn't going to go in the beginning. So shame on me. I kind of knew there was going to be a lot of problems. I kind of figured my setup would have a problem. You know, my buddy alone doesn't agree with me having a suppressor. He thinks I should have one. However, him and I hunt together all the time, and I do not think we need a suppressor. You know, we kill coyotes. So, and let me go back. Let's see. So let me go back to the suppressor real quick. But like Barnes said, well, everybody said, well, if they told me up front, I totally agree. Okay. Do you want to know how many times we needed a suppressor in the week we were out there? None. When you have 4 guys shooting at the same coyote, you don't need none. We shot one coyote, we blew the leg off, the head off, the neck off. Because all 4 of us shoot at the same coyote if it comes in. There's not one guy. It's one. If one coyote comes in, all 4 shoot. That's this guy's rules. So, not one. It didn't matter. Just like the fence. You know, give me crap. Oh, this guy's hindering us because he can't get over the fence. Dude, we didn't even try climbing the fence at that point. He had no clue. You know what I mean? Now, listen, coyotes didn't come in packs out there. Not one time we were there. The most we seen in one, we had one pack of 8, and it was only because we were at a pig dump station. So basically, where they dump dead pigs and stuff, it was a bunch there. Yeah, Master Sophomore. Yeah, listen, I agree. You understand? You don't know me. That's Chris. The old Ben, that wouldn't even flew. I would have just, it would have just went. The new Ben, who believes in God and really is trying to put this trip behind him, and raise his kids alone and can't afford to make too many bad mistakes, knew that I couldn't do that. But everything inside me wanted to. So, and yeah, and I'll be honest with you, a suppressor here, you can say Kansas and suppressors out there, you're not going to win with me. Not the week I was out there. You can't even win. So let me finish because we're almost done here. We're almost out of time here. So that night, our last night, we should have killed a bunch. We ended up to a point where there was a big rainstorm coming in. I mean, a big rainstorm. And everybody, even the locals, everybody said, hey, listen, sorry, I bumped something. Everybody said, listen, if we got this rain, so much rain, you can't drive on the roads, you can't do this. Well, even in that Jeep Gladiator with big tires, there was no getting through anywhere. When that rain hit, we were done. So we decided we were going to come home early on, would have been Thursday. We've been planning on being home the Sunday, but we figured we'd leave the 2 days early and we were just going to come home. You know what I mean? So my buddy and I said to my buddy, I said, listen, as far as I'm concerned, you book this trip. If you want to stay, we stay. If you want to go, we go. You book the rental, you book the place we stayed, you book. So as far as I'm concerned, you're in charge. Tell me what you want to do. So my buddy says, I want to go home. So I said, okay, let's go home. Well, the guy that was with us, oh my God, he cried and whined and flipped out, called my buddy all kinds of names. And well, then him and I got in a huge, heated, screaming match. And then it was just, the whole trip was just an absolute freaking crap show. So then my buddy decided, well, we're going to stay a night to make this guy happy. So we stayed an extra night, came home the next day. And then, long story short, we were home. However, I don't understand, and maybe I'm wrong for this, but I don't understand what this guy's problem was with me. Like, and not only that, Chris, you can vouch this. How many times do we take a kid or a new hunter out and I'd be like, hey, man, here, you can use my gun, or here, sit here, or hey, do this. So when we go to Kansas, this guy was so selfish, he couldn't keep his count. He was so selfish that he had to be the one hunting, even though he gets a 6-month window of this huge season. Like, I don't understand. And maybe I'm just a different person. Maybe I'm a different breed. Maybe I'm wrong with what I'm saying. I'm not afraid to say it. But for me, I would have done things different, somebody came to me and said, hey, man, I think I like what you do. Can you take me hunting? I'd be like, yeah. You know how many kids I put on my gun and left them just hunt with my gun? Or adults, I just said, here, you hunt, I'll thermal scan. If I see something, I'll help you get on. That's what makes you a better hunter. That's what makes you a good person. I don't understand. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess I should have done a lot more praying before I went on the trip, guys. I'll be honest with you. I just, I'm grateful for the experience. I will never do it again.
Whose fault did you say it was?
It was Chris's fault. Because I said no 250,000 times to this trip until Chris said, think about the content you can make. Dude, you're going to go out there for that price. That's cheap. You can go check this out. Yep, I agreed. Chris hates me.
That was my plan all along.
I didn't want this whole show to be a bitch session. However, I did want that people see that a hunting trip can go bad. I guess for me, how much time do we have, Chris?
Negative 2 minutes.
Negative.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, you got to make the most out of it the best you can. And unfortunately, it didn't seem like he was willing to help you make the most out of it.
Well, and I guess the only advice I could give somebody is, and this is just me, make sure if you go out hunting on a trip, and this is a lesson learned for me. This is something I just learned. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have either. So I think that one of the things I think are very important is know who you're going with.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say that, everybody, not my buddy's buddy, my buddy's niece's uncle's nephew's going. No, everybody you're going with, know how you'll get along before you get there. Number one. That would be number one for me. Number two would probably be make sure you handle the situation and let people know what's going on instead of letting someone else deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those would be the best two hints. Make sure you understand. Like I called down and talked to the Kansas game warden, so I knew what we can hunt, not hunt. I didn't want someone telling me, "Oh, you can kill this," and we couldn't kill it and got in trouble. So, I should have talked to this guy and whatever. I guess I don't know. I have a lot of faith in people, and people 80% of the time fail me. They show me how crappy they are, and that sucks. If I was guiding, I wouldn't have had a gun. Totally agree. Masters, Chris, I can't read that one. That dude would have tried my fish. Yeah, it was miserable. Again, I'm grateful for the experience. I did at least get to see Kansas. So the good part of the trip, I got to see Kansas. You can never say I did. That would be the good part. So other than that, it was what it was. So next, we are out of time, and I apologize. Next week's show, guys, not next week, the week after, Chris, we will have the Chubby Buck joining us. It will not, Chris, what's the date on that? Not next week?
It has to be the 2nd, because that's when we're on next is the 2nd.
2nd. Okay. So, I knew we were at
I think he set up for the 9th, but we got to move him to the 2nd.
I already talked to him. You're right. That's what it was. So,
wow, I'm right. Twice tonight.
Twice
I'm right.
tonight. Yep.
Jeez.
So we will have Chubby Buck joining us February 2nd, and it will be about PA's new vote to change the rifle season and move it during the rut season. Jim from Chubby Buck has actually asked us if he could come on. He'd like to discuss it.
I've seen both sides of this, and it is heated.
I've read a lot of posts, dude, and all I can tell you is, Jim, I don't agree. So it'll be a fun.
Some people are mad.
Yeah, it'll be a fun show. I think in 2 weeks it'll be a great show. So I don't agree, Jim. I'm not opposed to more hunting time, but I don't agree. So I'll give my opinion on that as we talk. So make sure you guys join us. Thanks for joining us tonight. Again, I totally apologize. I didn't want to make it a big session. God bless. We're out of here.